I was just trying to catch some fish in my neighborhood lake when the HOA president slapped me with a $600 fine. Now, most people would either pay up or fight it in court, but here's what Patricia Manning didn't know about me. I just sold my tech company for $2 million, so instead of paying her ridiculous fine, I did something that completely destroyed her little power kingdom. If you love watching HOA tyrants get destroyed, smash that subscribe button to HOA Karma, because this gets wild. My name is Ethan Lai, and 3 months ago, I was living the entrepreneur dream. After 15 years building cybersecurity software, I'd sold my company to a Fortune 500 tech giant. At 38, I was officially retired with more money than I knew what to do with. My wife Sarah and I had just moved into Pine Ridge Estates, a gated community built around Crystal Lake, a 12-acre natural lake that sold us on our $850,000 home. The realtor specifically mentioned fishing as a premier amenity. The lake was stocked annually with bass, trout, and bluegill, complete with a dock and boat launch. Perfect for someone who'd grown up fishing with his grandfather. Enter Patricia Manning, a 62-year-old retired school principal who'd convinced herself that being HOA president made her community dictator. She drove a white Lexus with a custom plate reading HOA boss. I'm not making this up. On a perfect Saturday morning in September, I was an hour into my weekly routine at the community dock. I just landed a decent bass and was photographing it when footsteps approached behind me. "Excuse me, sir, but I need to speak with you immediately." Patricia Manning marched toward me, clipboard ready, wearing what looked like an official HOA uniform, khaki pants, logo polo, and a badge reading HOA authority. 2 board members flanked her. "Good morning," I said pleasantly. "Beautiful day for fishing." Patricia's expression could have frozen the lake. "Mr. Lai, fishing from the community dock violates our updated guidelines. I'm issuing a formal citation for unauthorized recreational activity." I blinked. "I'm sorry. What?" The realtor said fishing was included in community amenities. "It's why we chose this neighborhood." Patricia consulted her clipboard theatrically. "Guidelines were updated last month during our emergency board meeting. Fishing creates liability issues and disturbs residents who prefer peaceful lake meditation." She gestured toward the lake, where exactly 0 residents were currently meditating. "I never received notification about this change," I said, irritation building. "All residents were notified via our community portal." Patricia replied smugly, "Ignorance doesn't exempt compliance. The violation fine is $600. $600 for fishing in a lake I was paying HOA dues to maintain." That seemed excessive. "Is there an appeals process?" Patricia's smile dripped condescension. "Mr. Lai, perhaps you don't understand how Pine Ridge Estates works. We maintain standards here. The board takes violations seriously, especially from newer residents who might not appreciate our established community culture." Her emphasis on newer residents made the subtext clear. This wasn't about fishing regulations. This was about putting the new guy in his place. "Payment is due within 30 days or we'll place a lien on your property. I trust that won't be necessary." As Patricia's entourage left, I sat on that dock and made a decision. I wasn't paying this fine. I was doing something much more interesting. That afternoon, I called David Morrison, my real estate attorney who'd handled my company sale. David, research something for me. Who actually owns Crystal Lake? 3 days later, David called back with fascinating news. "Ethan, the lake isn't owned by the HOA. It's owned by Sunset Properties LLC, the original developers from 25 years ago. The HOA has a management lease expiring in 6 weeks. This was getting interesting. What happens when it expires? Sunset Properties can renew, sell to the HOA, or sell privately. They've been trying to exit property management entirely. The lake's probably available. I smiled for the first time since meeting Patricia. Find out what Sunset Properties wants for it. While David worked, I researched Patricia's reign of terror. 8 years of complaints filled online forums about arbitrary rules, excessive fines, and authority abuse. She'd driven out dozens of families with petty enforcement campaigns. Most interesting were records showing Patricia's family somehow avoided fines despite clear violations others were cited for. Her son had an unpermitted deck. Her daughter ran an illegal dog grooming business from her garage, but those violations never reached Patricia's clipboard. David called with the news I'd hoped for. Sunset Properties is motivated. They want $340,000 for the lake and all property rights, dock, boat launch, 2 surrounding acres. $340,000. I'd made that in interest income last month. Make them an offer they can't refuse. Cash deal, 2-day closing. I'll pay $400,000 if they can have paperwork ready by Friday. Are you sure? That's serious money for a lake. I was already planning my next move. Sometimes you pay for property. Sometimes you pay for principal. This is worth both. Thursday morning, closing happened at David's office. By noon, I owned Crystal Lake completely. Patricia's HOA had no idea their precious lake had changed hands. Friday morning, I returned to my fishing spot when Patricia appeared for weekend patrol. She approached with usual authority, clipboard battle. Ready, Mr. Lai. Continuing to violate guidelines constitutes a second offense. The fine increases to $1,200. The board will. Mr. Lai. Continuing to violate guidelines constitutes a second offense. The fine increases to $1,200. The board will. I held up my hand. Actually, Patricia, you don't have jurisdiction over me anymore. Her brows knit together. Excuse me, I pulled a crisp folder from my bag and handed her the deed. This is the property title for Crystal Lake and the surrounding acres. As of yesterday, I own this lake outright, which means your HOA rules. They don't apply here anymore. Patricia's face drained of color. Her eyes darted across the paperwork, desperately searching for a loophole. One of her board members leaned over her shoulder, then muttered, "It's legit, Patricia. He owns it." I smiled. From now on, fishing is not only permitted, it's encouraged. In fact, I'll be opening Crystal Lake to the public as a private fishing club. Membership is free for every resident, except for HOA board members. You'll need to apply and pay a yearly fee if you want to step foot on my property. Patricia sputtered, You can't do this." "Oh, I can," I said calmly, "and I already have. You see, Patricia, I'm not interested in your petty fines or your so-called standards. I'm interested in restoring fairness and freedom to this community, something you've been abusing for years." Word spread fast. Within days, neighbors were cheering me on. Families who had quietly endured Patricia's bullying finally had an outlet. I put up new signs at the dock. "Welcome to Crystal Lake, a private fishing club owner. Ethan Lai." By the following week, I had 37 residents signed up for free fishing memberships. We held weekend cookouts by the lake, kids running with fishing poles, neighbors laughing. Exactly what the community was supposed to be. Patricia, she was forced to watch from the sidelines, her clipboard powerless for the first time in years. But I didn't stop there. Remember her son's unpermitted deck and her daughter's illegal dog grooming business. I forwarded the documentation to county code enforcement. Within a month, both were fined thousands of dollars. Suddenly, Patricia was the one drowning in violations. The final nail came at the next HOA board election. Half the neighborhood showed up, furious about her abuse of power. Patricia lost by a landslide. She resigned in humiliation, her Lexus with the HOA Bossa plate noticeably absent from the neighborhood soon after. As for me, I sit on that dock every Saturday morning with my fishing pole, my wife Sarah by my side, and neighbors who actually smile when they walk past. Crystal Lake is ours again, not hers. So the next time an HOA tyrant thinks they can bully you, remember this. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just fighting back. Sometimes it's buying the very thing they're trying to control and turning it into something better. If you enjoyed watching Patricia's little kingdom crumble, don't forget to smash that subscribe button to HOA Karma, because trust me, this is only the beginning.